Welcome to the Dawgs Table. Get access to special guests, anyone can join the Dawgs Table. Find the link to join the show in the comments when we go live every Tuesday on YouTube, on Facebook, and everywhere on the BIGPLAY network. Here's your hosts.
Welcome to the Dawgs Table. I'm your host, Craig Fountain, here with Ryan Angelo. How's it going today, Ryan?
What's going on, baby? Happy Victory Tuesday, dog pound.
Tuesday. Just as sweet as Victory Monday. Just as sweet as Victory Sunday. The Cleveland Browns, for the first time in so long, give us a week one victory. And we are here to talk about it tonight. We're going to recap the game. We are going to give away a Cade York jersey. That was a Twitter contest that we ran. If you're not on Twitter, you're missing out. Aaron, thanks for joining the show. Jonathan, appreciate you joining the show. Jeanette as well.
Cade York.
Just so you know, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, we can get your comments into the studio. We can display your comments. We can read them in real time, interact with them. You can tell us we're crazy, we're wrong. You can tell us how right we are. That never happens. But we are the Dawgs Table, a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show brought to you by Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. And we are part of Team Big Play. And I mentioned last week, but I'll mention it again, what a great time they're having over at Big Play with Bernie Kosar and Hanford Dixon for their new show. So shout out to that. Make sure you check out Bernie Kosar and Hanford Dixon on the Big Play Network.
Bernie Kosar follows me on Twitter now, by the way. Just saying.
He followed me first. Anyways, here we go. Craig Foster, thanks for joining the show. Chris Spann, thanks for joining the show. Again, we are here on a Victory Tuesday. We're going to recap the game. We're going to give you guys just a chance to chime in and tell us what you guys think. We're going to go over our Dogs of the Week. And then we are going to put this week behind us after we enjoy it. And we are going to look forward to the New York Jets. And we're going to take a look at that game as well. So it is going to be a great night. Stick around. All right. Let's start off with recapping the game with the Carolina Panthers. Now, the last time we won a season opener, everybody knows 2004, right? Jeff Garcia over the Baltimore Ravens. It was 20-3. That's one of those things where, James, thanks for joining the show. That's one of those things where I actually remember where I was. I know that's weird because I was like a preteen, I think, at that point. But Jeanette says Mr. Otto Kadick was the game's MVP. I'm loving all these nicknames that everybody's been throwing out there all over social media. And she says Bernie and Hanford show is good. That's good. Craig, hope you enjoyed the game.
Awesome.
Last road season opener win. What was that? Early 90s with Bill Belichick, right?
Yeah.
So, this was a meaningful event. It was a meaningful event for a number of reasons. My favorite reason, other than this era, this curse that's been broken, is that we can finally stop talking about Baker Mayfield. We're gonna talk about him in a recap form tonight. That's it. Strictly, we're taking off our fan hats, putting our analyst hats on. We're gonna talk about him, and then it's over. It's done with, right? So it's one of those. Craig, 28 years ago for a road opening game.
28 years. That's crazy if you think about it.
That's a long time. I was 28 years ago. I'm 34. So, I was like
a wee little baby.
Right. Thanks for everybody that's joining. Also, if you didn't catch in the comments and you're just joining the show, you guys can in real time interact with us via the comments on Facebook and YouTube. So we can display them and interact with them. You guys kind of dictate the show. So you can ask us questions. Did the Panthers forget they had CMC until the second half? We're going to get into that. Let's start with the Cleveland Browns offense. Okay. Ryan, give me your thoughts on this offense in this opening game. How did you feel about Jacoby Brissett? Did we get what you expected out of the run game? And then moving on to the receiving game and offensive line, just all together. Let's hear you out.
I think the offense was exactly what we expected it to be, right? We know that the pass game is not going to be prolific as of right now. Probably not until a few weeks after Deshaun comes back. But Jacoby did what was necessary, right? He missed a couple reads, missed a couple opportunities to make a big play or two. But when it came down to the nitty gritty, he moved the ball down the field, got us in position for the Yorkster to hit that game-winning field goal. They leaned heavy on the run. They did try to, force some balls into some of the receivers. Amari Cooper was pretty much non-existent. Peoples-Jones had a few really nice catches, kept the ball, moving down the field for them. David Bell, not even sure if he played that day, honestly. I mean, he was non-existent. So, the passing game is what it is. We know it's going to struggle. But the running game was great. Kareem and Chubb, obviously the best tandem in the NFL, really moved the ball for us. Kareem was excellent in the game. Hunt was excellent in the game. It's really just an embarrassment of riches in the backfield for the Browns. I mean, it's ridiculous that they have both those guys on this team. Browns fans should be extremely, grateful that they're, seeing this type of run game in this current era, because it's ridiculously talented. But offensive line was really good. I didn't notice any weak spots. James Hudson filled in really good for Conklin. So, I mean, that was, like I said, it was what we expected it to be. Not a very prolific passing game, but the run game was, as excellent as we could expect it to be. And, here we are sitting 1-0.
Yeah, I'm with you on a lot of those points. And Craig here saying he did not turn the ball over. That's what I like about him. He doesn't turn the ball over that much. Now, it's been well documented that my expectations for Jacoby Brissett are far lower than I think the consensus is. Jacoby's not a guy that gives me a tremendous amount of confidence. Am I rooting for him? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to say that every time because people like to take that and run with it. Like if you criticize or you don't have the same level of optimism, that you're not rooting for the guy. He's easy to root for, right? He's humble. He's emotional. He's taking his job personally and seriously. We saw that presser afterwards and he got emotional, and he is. With that being said, he has physical limitations, right? Yep. There's a couple things that we can finally put to bed, right? Like, I don't know where again, I've said this before, but, I don't know where the dual threat narrative came from. We saw him running a little bit. This guy doesn't have wheels, right? Like, it's not an ideal situation if he has to get out of the pocket or try to get in front of, on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Right. As far as the turnovers, he played relatively efficient, but, he got bailed out by a secondary that couldn't seem to catch a ball either. There was a number of throws that he made that could have been picked off.
Yeah, there's a couple.
That's a whataboutism or whatever you want to call it. I get it. But, I'm not taking the efficiency to the bank just yet. I was really concerned about the throw that he made to the end zone, right? Where he got bailed out by the defensive pass interference, right? That was who do you target there? Amari Cooper?
Yeah, it was a bad play.
But, overall, it was okay. Is my stock up on Jacoby Brissett? No. Is it down? Also no. I'm kind of right where I was before. You're absolutely correct when we're talking about the Cleveland Browns backfield. There is an embarrassment of riches. You put that perfectly. We are spoiled. What's interesting to me, and maybe we can talk about it after we get out of this game, is Dearness Johnson being a healthy scratch. That is very curious to me. Very curious, but we'll address that later. Jeanette says, I think Brissett, she's given him a grade of a C. He scored because of the Panthers' mistakes. Yes, he capitalized on them, and that counts, but he was just okay. He had some well-placed balls. He's got an arm, right? But it's still some of these throws didn't inspire confidence in me.
Right.
I don't think we saw some of the zip we've seen from him in years past elsewhere. James says Brissett needs to stick to the intermediate middle, 67% completion there. Donovan Peoples-Jones was phenomenal. Is a possession playmaker in this game. Absolutely phenomenal. And Jacoby did a very good job placing some of these balls right where only DPJ could get them. And fortunately, DPJ came through. There was also a ball that Anthony Schwartz showed up and snagged. That was good. Yeah. Plus he had the end around, right?
Yeah. Sorry,
I'm getting ADD. We got a lot of comments flowing on YouTube and Facebook here. Njoku. Somebody brought up Njoku in the comments. Njoku was largely missing in action. Now, did he play a role in this? Absolutely. Was it by getting his hands on the ball? Not so much. I'd like to see the Browns use Hunt and let him take the load off Chubb. He's going to excel and trade him for future draft just before the deadline. Listen, I'm still not convinced that Hunt's getting moved. I think Dearness Johnson, and I've been saying all along, I've been saying for months and months and months and months and months, Dearness Johnson is probably the most likely to be traded. Hunt played a huge role in the passing game as well as in the run game. I like when Chubb's getting 2/3 of the carries, which he did. I think he got 22 to Kareem's 11 on the ground. But Hunt also played a role as a wide receiver, and that was just what we needed.
Yep.
I think that the formula moving forward is kind of what we saw today. I haven't decided if I have enough faith in Stefanski to consistently keep to this as a play caller, but give me 20 plus carries to Chubb, give me 10 plus to Kareem Hunt. If you can do those two things, mostly with giving Chubb 20, you have a winning formula.
Yep.
My biggest concern coming out of this game, and I got some pushback, understandably, because there's a lot of things flowing around out there that kind of people have an opposing viewpoint on this, but I am terrified of being down by more than a field goal, even just a field goal. I did not have confidence outside of the run game to be able to score. Now, when we get into a situation like we did, and I know that we're posting things on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, Brissett engineered a game-winning drive. That is not, to me, I mean, did he? Yeah, kind of. Did he get away with murder with a fake spike? Yes. Is that going to be the outcome 9 times out of 10 in that situation? No, I do not have faith. That was a perfect storm to me. Like that chain of events on that last drive leading up to Cade York's game winner. I don't think that happens 9 times out of 10.
I don't know. He still made plays. He had to, still had to get there. He had less than a minute to make that happen.
And that's okay. My opinion is not the end all be all.
No, I get you.
I'm still very nervous about playing from behind.
Well, yes. I mean, that's definitely, it's going to be difficult just because of the lack of the pass game. It makes you nervous as a fan because you see everybody else in the NFL and they're just throwing the ball around like crazy to all these different receivers, and the Browns, are really struggling in that department right now. So, can you win consistently dinking and dunking it in the intermediate game and running? We'll see.
James, I think he did an okay job. Again, my expectations are far lower than consensus. I don't have my hopes up high. I think that, and we'll get into the New York Jets later. We're going into week 2 in the New York Jets. That's a poor franchise right now. They're in a poor position. I think we'll be okay there. I'm really going to start to get scared when we go into prime time on a short week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care if it's home or away, whatever. But if we get down by 2 touchdowns, I'm still just I don't have that confidence. Not saying it couldn't happen. I just don't have the confidence. Yep. So, and Panthers fans have every right to be upset about that missed call, I think.
Was it a missed call, though? Because I don't even really know the full rule behind that. I thought the snap was fumbled, and that's why it wasn't a fake spike.
So there was a lot of slow-mo replays going around on Twitter today where people kind of slowed it down and explained why, that was kind of a missed call. And there's a genuine argument that should have been a penalty. Trying to keep on top of these comments and not be ADD here. Rich says, not sure what advantage there is going with Brissett over Dobbs other than experience, especially with Dobbs' mobility. Dobbs does have the superior mobility, right? Like, we don't want Jacoby running the ball, and you certainly won't see it by design, especially if it's not like a quarterback sneak. He does not have wheels. James says it was illegal for sure. Hey, now we lost to the Jets the last time. They were too confident. Weren't we missing 4 wide receivers the last time?
Yeah.
I think that was the COVID game where they warmed up in a parking garage.
Yeah.
But offensive line. I was nervous going into it without Jack Conklin. Hudson did phenomenal. Tight end play, other than Harrison Bryant trying to look like Austin Hooper, serviceable. Good. I think the wide receivers did their job getting open for the most part. I think Brissett missed some opportunities where the wide receivers had us in positions to score or make big plays. And, part of the trade-off to having the quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over is he's not going to pull the trigger if he's not completely sure.
Yep.
So, you're going to miss some of the big plays. But overall, run game awesome. Offensive line did great. I feel like the wide receiver room met or exceeded expectations, even though it's not going to show in the box score. Well, listen, Ryan, I'm with you. Like, this wide receiver room needs help.
Yeah.
I think it needs help. But I think Amari impressed with his route running. And he contributed elsewhere. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones proved reliable, especially as a possession receiver, which is really what we need him to be, right? Like, I understand that we want him to be a superstar deep threat, but I think that this is a role where he would thrive in consistently for a sustainable period of time moving forward. When it comes to Anthony Schwartz and some of the other guys, I'm still down on that room, when you get below those 2 guys. But James said Njoku blocked extremely well. He allowed us to stay in 11 personnel and keep a power running game. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he's extremely improved in his run blocking.
I was correct. Ethan's confirming COVID knocked out all the wide receivers against the Jets last time. So back to Dobbs. Somebody said we need to see Dobbs. It was Rich. Dobbs is definitely more mobile, right? Like, if we were to run an offense a little closer to what I think we'll see with Deshaun, the mobility, like, he has an advantage there. But I don't think we want to see Dobbs in there. He looked good in the preseason. A lot of guys look good in the preseason. I don't have a ton of faith in Dobbs either. Would I scream from the rooftops in disgust if they started Dobbs? No. But again, I'm lower on Jacoby than consensus. So I don't care which one you start, but whichever one you start, you better
just win, baby.
For getting out of there with a W.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, thoughts on any? I know I'm making, as my kids would say, I'm making word soup. I'm just spewing words.
No, you're good. I mean, I feel the same way. Dobbs or Brissett, I don't care. You just got to win. You got to survive until Deshaun gets back and you can start running what you want to run. And, it's that's all I care. I don't expect these games to be beautiful. I expect us to drop some games. We've got some legit opponents coming up. So I just the passing game just scares the hell out of me. It is what it is. I've been vocal about it all off season, all summer. Like, it just scares the hell out of me. I don't like it. I don't like the room. It is what it is. It's just me. But it served its purpose and we got the W. That's all that matters. So,
Ryan, give me your thoughts on the defense this week.
Defense looked good early. They fired off the ball. They were making plays in the backfield. They had pretty much completely shut them down, forced turnovers. Myles Garrett was playing like an animal at the beginning. But then the defense kind of did what they are known for doing, right? They get a lead and they start to take the foot off the gas a little bit. I don't know if that's a scheme problem or a coaching problem or what it is. But that seems like a really bad habit that the Browns defense has, that when the team gets an offensive lead on the scoreboard, the defense seems to take their feet off the pedals. And, we saw that giving up, a couple long passing plays for touchdowns, some blown assignments, guys get kind of complacent. So like I said, I don't know if it's a scheme problem or if that's a coaching issue or just a lack of effort on their part where they just kind of, chill out, but it seems like a growing trend with them, and that makes me nervous. But I mean, the beginning of the game, they were firing on all cylinders, and that's exactly what that defense should look like. So I mean, I don't expect an NFL defense to stay on the field, and completely shut every team out that they play. But I would have liked to see the mental errors, on the long plays not happen. But it happens to every team. But I mean, they looked really good. So it was. Aside from a few little bits here and there, it's what I expected them to be.
I do feel that this defense has elite potential. Like, we know they're good, but I think this defense actually has the opportunity to be elite. They have to change a couple things. And some of it's house cleaning, some of it's cohesiveness. And, we have a rookie cornerback starting who I think is going to be extremely good. Greedy Williams went to the IR out of nowhere. Big surprise. So I don't know what's going to happen with that room. Greedy might have lost his job and be hurt. So it's one of those things, like, we're going to kind of have to see where that is moving forward. But JOK, did you see that clip that
where he
tweeted out earlier that JOK retweeted and Denzel Ward?
Yeah.
Like, when Matt called JOK a shapeshifter,
it was pretty crazy.
Underneath the line, like, Christian McCaffrey looked up and JOK's in his face and the ball had barely gotten into the quarterback's hands. This guy is insane. And if you guys didn't see it, it was kind of reminiscent of that Denzel Ward play where he slid underneath the blocker to make the tackle on the outside, except he didn't have a running start. Like, it was just off the line. So under the center and right up back there. So he's insane. Myles Garrett did great. Jadeveon Clowney, I cannot appreciate how well this guy does on the run game enough. Like, he's just so good. But I think with the mixture of the experience we have and the elite athleticism we have on the outside of the defensive line and the talent we have in our secondary, if we can get over these 2 or 3 blown coverages a game, they're going to be phenomenal. They're going to be phenomenal. Our interior defensive line impressed me. Togiai had a sack. These guys held their own. I thought Jordan Elliott played well. Taven Bryan played well. Our linebackers played pretty well. For the most part, it was exactly what I wanted to see.
Right.
JOK is the real deal.
He is.
JOK is the next level. Baker's TD run was due to a double stunt that failed miserably and JOK vacating the middle.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about that play, by the way, but that happens all the time.
Keep rolling Brissett and pray for 6-6 by week 13 gives Watson 2 games to hopefully gel and still a legit shot at the playoffs. Look, the litmus test is going to be in Pittsburgh on Thursday night, 2 weeks from now. If we can compete in that game, and they played an ugly game against Cincinnati. Both those teams played so ugly this past weekend. And I bring that up because moving past the defense onto special teams, we drafted a kicker in the 4th round and we took a ton of shit for it, right? And it is already paying off.
Yep.
Chris Boswell missed a game winner. I believe McPherson missed 2. Blankenship missed 1 in Indianapolis that resulted in a tie. McManus missed 1 last night for Denver, 64-yarder. Boswell ended up getting the win with the game winner in Pittsburgh, but not on the first
Almost
try.
didn't. Yeah.
Listen, the fact that we can roll a kicker out there with confidence is just so awesome.
Right.
It is so awesome. I absolutely love it. And listen, this guy's got a leg, right? There was another 10 yards on that if we needed it. Now, the situation is not ideal. Like, we don't want this to be a normal occurrence. But if it is, we have the right guy. Barry, I will get you the link here momentarily.
You just be patient, Barry. I thought he missed that kick at the beginning, though.
So, to celebrate, I decided the Cade York game-winning field goal, which will go down along with Run, William, Run, is one of the best calls by Jim Donovan in the history of Cleveland sports radio. I decided to give away a Cade York jersey this week. Now, if you were on Twitter, you saw it. All you had to do was retweet it, and you were entered. And then you got a bonus entry if you followed the Dawgs Table. We had over, I think, 2,000 entries between the retweets and following the Dawgs Table. So there was a lot of entries. We picked a winner at random, and we're about halfway through our show's official timeline that we never stick to. So I am going to go ahead and announce the winner for that. And the winner of the Cade York jersey is at Summy D 24, also known as Summa. I'm assuming her name is Summer. I don't know, but congratulations to her. She wins the Cade York jersey. So we will be reaching out and we will get your details. Congratulations.
Everybody give a round of applause.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Keep an eye. Follow us on Twitter. Turn notifications on. Me and Ryan are doing another giveaway coming up.
Oh yeah.
We're doing a giveaway, so make sure you don't want to miss that. 31 other NFL teams wrote him off. He didn't write back. Okay, so this is referencing a Geno Smith quote last night. There was the most Baker Mayfieldish quote
he's a dork.
That's ever been said by somebody other than Baker Mayfield, I think. And I actually, it made me chuckle. Geno Smith said,
"Hey, good for Geno, though, right? I mean, good for Geno. Whatever, man."
All right. So with that, we're running just slightly behind. Ethan, I see you down there in the dog pen, as we like to call it. We will bring you in shortly. Before we do that, we are going to officially for this season, we're going to go back to doing our weekly Dogs of the Week. Now, if this is your first time joining the show, we are a Cleveland Browns Roundtable discussion show. Anybody can join. We will put the link in the comments during most episodes to join the second half of the show. We are brought to you by Labatt Blue Light, and we are part of the Big Play Network, and we are sponsored also by Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. Now, one of our weekly segments we do every week during the season is our City Dogs of Cleveland Dogs of the Week. Now, when we started this show, years ago, right? I've been doing this for I think over 2 years now. The first connection we made, I wanted it to be for charity, and we connected with the City Dogs of Cleveland. Now, if you're familiar with Top Dog Tailgate or a lot of the, they have a concession stand at Cleveland Browns Stadium. They're very involved with Browns fans and the team itself. We feature an adoptable dog every week, and that is our dog of the week. Plus, we will give you our offensive and defensive dogs of the week that are like our MVPs. So, without further ado, this is our first City Dogs of Cleveland Dogs of the Week of 2022. All right, so this week's Dog of the Week goes by the name of Cougar Izzy. Strange name, but super cute. This is Cougar Izzy right here. It's a 10-year-old mama dog that's so sweet. There is Beth from City Dogs of Cleveland. You can find her at a lot of tailgating events or at the stadium on game day. Last year, I got to find out if they're doing it this year. Last year, they actually had a concession stand where they had the same, goodies that the other ones had. But if you bought from them, the proceeds went to the City Dogs of Cleveland, which was awesome. Awesome in partnership with the Browns. Hopefully they're doing that again this year. She loves car rides, walking, and people. She just wants to hang out and be your new best friend. This is Cougar Izzy. And Beth was texting me, sending me these photos. And she's like, listen, I fall in love with a lot of dogs, but this one I fell in love with Cougar Izzy. So great. She's such a great dog. If you can't adopt, and not everybody can, and we understand that, you can still help the City Dogs of Cleveland. We can connect you with them. Even if you want to make just a $10 donation, $5 donation, something like that, that goes a long way. And on Twitter and Facebook, I'm going to post later on, there's actually a 3rd annual Embrace CLE Community Challenge where you can make a donation of $10 and you can help the City Dogs of Cleveland that way. So we will post details for that later on. So that is our City Dogs of Cleveland Dog of the Week, Cougar Izzy. If you need help getting connected with the City Dogs of Cleveland, don't hesitate to DM me, DM Ryan, DM the show, any of our socials. We will be happy to personally connect you with them and get you in touch with the right person. So that's good. Cougar Izzy, we need to find her home. Ryan, offensive dog of the week. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with James Hudson. I think that he filled in extremely well for Jack Conklin. I feel like, I didn't recognize any issues. I mean, he was that solid throughout the game. Normally if you see a breakdown here or there, it's pretty evident, but like they say, they didn't call his name for anything negative, right? So he filled in admirably, and I believe last year he didn't do so hot in some of the games that he played, if I remember correctly. But he was well improved this year, and it seemed like the Panthers defensive ends could not get through him whatsoever. I mean, I think he was graded pretty highly by Pro Football Focus. So that was my offensive guy. I mean, there's obvious other choices, but you like to go for somebody who's in the trenches and slaving away the whole game. So that's why I chose Mr. Hudson. So good job, Mr. Hudson.
All right, Hudson had a great week. I can't hate on that pick at all. I went with a running back though, and not the one you might have expected. Nick Chubb had a phenomenal game, 22 carries, 141 yards, 6.4 yards per carry. He did outstanding, but I am going with Kareem Hunt. 11 runs, 46 yards, a touchdown, 4.2 yards per carry, but was also a perfect 4 receptions on 4 targets for 24 yards in a touchdown. Nick Chubb was doing his job, right? Like, he had a phenomenal game, but when it came time to get fresh legs in there and for somebody to make a clutch play, a big play, it just seems like Kareem was just automatic. You can't really replace him right now as a dual threat in both the running and receiving game. I think he's one of the most important players on this offense, which is why I don't think that they'll trade him, right? When we look at the target share going around, he was tied for 3rd in targets. Mind you, Jacoby threw the ball 34 times, right? Donovan Peoples-Jones led the team in targets. He was 6 on 11 for 60 yards. Second most targeted was Amari Cooper. He was targeted 6 times. And then you have Kareem Hunt and Harrison Bryant, both targeted 4 times. So Kareem Hunt played phenomenally. I actually think that this game may not have turned out the way it did if Kareem doesn't have that type of production.
Mhm.
Nick Chubb did his job. Kareem Hunt really did his job. I'm going with Kareem Hunt as my offensive dog of
Good
the week.
choice. Good choice.
So, all right, defensive dog of the week. Who do you got?
Man, I really don't have a singular one. I mean, obviously, you could go with the low hanging fruit, like we said at the beginning of the show with Myles Garrett. But I kind of want to just, tip my hat to the entire defensive backfield for the Browns. I know that they had a couple rough plays, but the fact that DJ Moore was pretty much non-existent in this game, to me, was a big deal. I mean, he's pretty much one of the most talented young receivers in the league right now. I know he's got Baker as his quarterback, but I was really impressed on how he was pretty much non-existent. It's kind of just like Amari was for us. They had shut him down. He's there just for mainly blocking. So it's kind of an odd pick for my first week, but I really enjoyed watching them. They attack the ball. They for the most part, other than the couple broken plays, they're there contesting every pass, blitzes, run support. So I was really impressed with the defensive backfield this game.
So, Rich, you bring up an interesting debate that I've had internally in the past is whether or not special teams is defensive or offensive. Cade York, I think, is overall the dog of the week. I think that would be unanimous this week. Excellent choice. Myles Garrett is low-hanging fruit, but I got to go with him. He was just, he was Myles Garrett.
Yep.
He had an outstanding game. Let's bring in Ethan. Ethan is a contributor for dawgstable.com. Ethan, how are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. How about you guys, fellas?
Outstanding. Hey, since you're coming in right now, we're finishing up our dogs of the week. Give us your offensive and defensive dogs of the week this week.
Well, I think I'm going to have to agree with you about the Kareem Hunt choice as the offensive dog of the week. He definitely complemented everything that Nick Chubb was doing and made the offense go when they weren't able to get it to the receivers. Defensively, Ryan, you talked about the defensive backfield, and I don't know if I would talk about all the guys, but definitely Denzel Ward. I believe if I read the stats correctly, I don't think they even targeted Denzel, against Denzel Ward one time. And that's fantastic. I mean, if you don't even hear the guy's name, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so that's where I would go with the offensive and defensive dogs of the week. And to your question there, Craig, about whether special teams is offensive or defensive, well, I think they're the third phase of the game. They are special on their own.
I think that we need to add a special teams dog of the week then. I think the problem in years past or seasons past was there sometimes wasn't a dog of the week. Like we just didn't want to. Right. There wasn't anything good happening. Like it would have been Charlie Hewlett for not, botching a snap for 17 out of 17 games a lot of the time. All right. So there's an agreement with Ethan in the comments. Ethan, we're gonna move on after this, but just give us a quick synopsis of how you felt about this game. We're not even going to, after you comment, we're just going to move on. We're not going to do Baker Mayfield. We're not going to do any of that as far as me and Ryan. You're more than welcome to touch on it if you'd like, but that is in the past. We are officially and ceremoniously looking forward to the Jets and not looking back until we play the Panthers or whoever Baker Mayfield plays for again. So,
right.
Yours.
Exactly. As I stated in the piece that we put out, there was the good, there was the bad. It wasn't even ugly. There were things that made me sick. Like I said, the lack of a punt returner, the Demetric Felton experience. Yeah, that's not so good. That's not like the Jimi Hendrix experience, which is, a really good thing. The Demetric Felton punt returning experience is not ideal for sure. And I don't know what the answer is there. Offensively, you talked about Jacoby, and I wonder, is it so much of him being his limitation in the passing game, or is there an element of rust that he has to get off from not playing so much in the preseason, not getting the first team reps? I don't know. He is a statue. He has a tough time moving there. Defensively, sans those major, malfunctions in the defensive backfield, you had a great game plan. I think just as an overall package, the Browns did exactly what they have to do to win these games. They have to play mistake-free football. Let's take a look back just to kind of compare when we had to have substitute quarterback play last season, whether it was Case Keenum or Nick Mullins. You try and play mistake-free football to get yourself to victory there. And I think that's something that they're going to have to continue to do going forward. I think the only thing we'll need to pay attention to about the person who formerly was the Browns quarterback is to see how he matches up against the other AFC North opponents. And we'll be rooting for him and the Panthers in those ball games. So I think week 1 is in the books. We got to win. We are on to the JETS, Jets, and Mr. Joe Flacco.
Good old Joe Flacco. You're muted! You're muted.
It's not a show if I don't do that at least once. We are moving on to the Jets. The Jets had a very rough week. They started Joe Flacco against the Baltimore Ravens, of course, who Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl with. It was like a week 1 rematch for a number of teams, right? We saw Russell Wilson face the Seahawks. I said I wouldn't say that. And then we have the Jets, Flacco facing Baltimore. It did not go well. And at Flacco's age, he had to do something that I'm surprised they asked him to do, and that was throw the ball 59 times. 59. It was just it was ugly. It was very ugly. And you look at some of the box score was just surprising, right? Like Michael Carter was the leading rusher, 10 carries, 60 yards. Joe Flacco had 1 attempt, 0 yards. So they ran the ball 11 times. 11. That is something that if we get up, we'll expect them to kind of do the same against us. They're going to pass the ball on us. Joe Flacco was 37 of 59 for 307 yards for a touchdown and a pick against Baltimore. Their leading receiver was not Garrett Wilson, just like their leading rusher was not Breece Hall. It was Corey Davis, who was targeted 9 times. He tied Michael Carter as the top in targets for the Jets in week 1, and he caught 6 of them for 77 yards. Michael Carter caught 7 for 40 yards. Their offense is lacking, and it's something that hopefully we'll be seeing on week 1. Our defense has the potential to just make this hopefully we don't even need our offense. Hopefully the defense can essentially shut them out, maybe get some points. And hopefully we only need to score 7 points, 14 points, something like that. I think it's going to be more than that, but the over-under in this game is actually 40 points, which is pretty low. And the Browns are currently on DraftKings 6-point favorites. So that's an implied score of what? 24 to 8,
16.
24-16
approximately.
24-16 roughly, or somewhere in that ballpark, because it's too late to math and I've had a lot of Labatt Blues, and they'll make you feel great, but they won't make you a mathematician. 6.5. All right, let's see. I'm catching up on the comments. My ADD is getting the best of me. Yep, just looked it up. We're 6.5-point favorites on DraftKings. Ryan, what are you looking for in this game?
I'm looking for the same type of game that we saw against the Panthers. Run the ball heavy. Defense shuts down their offense. I mean, it's pretty much what's got to happen. I mean, almost every game, it's going to be the same MO. Hopefully the Browns can make a little bit more happen in the pass game this time around, because the Jets defense has some talent on it, but it's it's not the Panthers secondary. The Panthers secondary, in my opinion, is much better than the Jets secondary. But we'll see. That's what I anticipate every game for the Browns. The heavy run with Chubb and Hunt, and passes here and there, and the defense is going to have to hold the water until they get the offense back where they want it to be. So that's where I'm at.
Ethan, I want to get your opinion here in just a second, but I think that what the Jets defense is going to face this week is going to be very different from what they faced in week one. In week one, the Baltimore Ravens leading rusher was Kenyon Drake. Yeah. All right. I don't know how the man still has a job, but that was their leading rusher. Kenyon Drake ran the ball 11 times for 31 yards. That's a 2.8 yards per carry average. Lamar was only able to get 17 yards on the ground on 6 carries, and you had 2 carries each by Mike Davis and Justice Hill. That's not what the Jets are going to face this week. They're going to have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and hopefully we get that 30-plus carry combined with, that 2/3 of them going to Nick Chubb, 1/3 of them going to Kareem Hunt. That's the ideal scenario that we talked about earlier. That's the formula for success. Lamar Jackson played well against them. 17 of 30 for 213, 3 touchdowns and an interception. I don't think that we need all those scores, but I think that if we can throw the ball 20 to 25 times, again, we don't need Brissett to put up crazy numbers. How many passing yards do you have this past week? 145? That's fine. That's fine. Just don't turn the ball over. Put the game in Chubb and Hunt's hands. That's what we need to do. Jeanette, we are going to predict the game as soon as when we're ready to wrap that up. We will let you know what we think our scores are going to be. Ethan, give me your thoughts. What do we have to do offensively and defensively here?
Well, offensively, obviously, like you said, this is going to be a different team than what the Jets faced last week in Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Jackson did his damage over the top. He was able to take the top off the defense, make some nice long touchdown passes, and they didn't have as much of a running game. So we're obviously going to be kind of the opposite of that. And I've heard them talk about this on sports radio and seen the comments that basically what Stefanski schemed up had receivers open. So there's going to be opportunities that Brissett is going to have to make a throw. So I look for us, like you said, we're going to stick to the formula, and it's going to be more of the same. I don't know what wrinkles they're going to add in. Maybe they're going to try and get Njoku into the game plan a little bit more. He did a phenomenal job blocking, and it was good to see Schwartz make a few catches and them trying to get him going on the reverses and such to get him into the ball game. Defensively, now I think that I don't know how good or bad the Ravens defense is as of yet. Normally they are very well coached by Harbaugh. But I think we've got a great opportunity to control the line of scrimmage. Like you said, I mean, their leading rusher was Michael Carter for the Jets with 60 yards. The next person, Hall, only had 23 on 6 attempts. So he really got, kept in check there. We're going to have an opportunity to control the line of scrimmage again, and for Myles Garrett to reap havoc in the backfield and get to a non-mobile quarterback like Joe Flacco. And it was very interesting. Did you notice in the box score for the Jets, who did not appear to have any receptions or any targets? One, Mr. Denzel Mims, who asked to be traded. But no, we're going to need to just clean up defensively those mistakes, those blown coverages that we made against the Panthers that made that game come down to the Cade York field goal, because it really shouldn't have come down to that. Tyvis Powell, I saw him on Twitter. He was kind of posting his explanation of what happened, and it's just incredible when you read that to see what's happening. So I think, again, the defensive game plan is going to have to be to make Flacco have to pass it a lot again. And with our defensive backfield, the coverage they played against Carolina, I think we should be in fine shape, stick to the plan offensively to get the victory. And we just need to continue to have consistency on the special teams, Bajorquez and York leading the way.
Yeah, and Baltimore's defense is respectable, in my opinion. But the other thing the Jets didn't have to contend with is they only allowed 3 sacks against this Baltimore defense and 3 tackles for loss. I would anticipate that those numbers being much higher against the Cleveland Browns. So when it comes to quarterback pressure and tackles for loss, I think that's going to further give the Browns the advantage as opposed to the Ravens formula to win the game on defense. Now, I don't know if they're going to ask Flacco to throw 59 times again. His arm might fall off. We might see Mike White at quarterback. And there's guys that we don't know if we're going to see. Will we see Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson? There's these guys are game changers, and I'll admit that I'm not sure if these guys were healthy scratches, if they just didn't get involved. I don't know what their snap counts were. At this point, I haven't delved that deep yet. There's the rest of the week for that. But, it'll be interesting. Those are playmakers. Those are playmakers that could change the entire look of the offense. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, so let's look at some – I got the sports book up. Let's see. Not a lot of – I'm not seeing a bunch of prop bets that we can play with yet. Let's see. Let me find the game. I should have been more prepared.
What's up, Skylar? We're doing good, buddy.
Skylar's here. All right. So let's start with the. Let's just go into our predictions. We'll just do that. All right. So Browns are 6.5-point favorites. First home game, season home opener. Over under's 40. Ryan, you taking the over or the under?
I'm gonna go under.
You're gonna go under. All right. Yeah. Ethan, what about you? Over under?
I'm gonna take the under as well.
You're gonna take the under. All right, Ryan, give me your score prediction for this game.
I'm gonna go 28-10 Browns.
Okay. That is the under. I had to math that real quick.
It's close.
It's close. Ethan, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go a little bit closer in the score. I think we're going to surpass the 20-point mark. Let's go 23-16 with a one-score victory.
All right. I'm going to go lower scoring. I think that the Browns are – I don't think we're going to put up a ton of points. I don't think we're going to need to. And we both know the tendencies once we get ahead. And I think they'll allow the game to be close, right? Because that's what we do. We get ahead. We let things happen. We bend, but don't. We kind of break. I'm going to go with 17-14 Browns. Yeah, so I think that we get 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And we let the Jets kind of creep back into the game without giving it up all the way. Full disclosure, I picked the Panthers to win last week, so I don't know anything. I picked them to win by 1 point. I was actually very close on the outcome. I am so happy that I am wrong. Sure. Let's see here. Comments. Aaron, 22-12 Browns. He's predicting we get a safety. Rich says Browns 27, Jets 10. Craig says 28-14. Skylar, either you changed your profile picture. That's Mr. Cade York. I almost didn't recognize you there. All right, so we recapped the Panthers game. We looked ahead to the Jets game. Let's close out the show. I don't think tonight's going to be one of the 2-hour extended stays. I'm just going to give you guys a couple questions and you can give your thoughts on them. Chris, Browns 23-17. Ryan, Dearness Johnson was a healthy scratch. What is going on here?
I don't know. I mean, does he have a family thing going on? I mean, is it a possibility that he's dealing with a personal issue?
It's on the sideline.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part. So odd man out. That's just what I say. He's the odd man out.
Did Jerome Ford get on the field? I don't think he did.
No.
He did a kick return.
He
took a kickoff return and maybe some other special teams, but no, I don't believe he was on any plays offensively.
Yeah, I think Dearness is the odd man out. I think that Kareem Hunt is too special. I think that he is too he's too needed in this offense and what they like to do. And Dearness just isn't Kareem. And I think that by them drafting Ford and Ford looking as good as what he has so far, granted preseason, I get it. It looks like he can do the things that Dearness can do, if not better. So I think that's what makes Dearness the most expendable out of the room. And I still say that, and this is totally off topic, but I still say that if it wasn't for Jakeem Grant getting hurt, that I don't think Felton would have made this roster. But that's just me, because he's terrible. But but no, I think it just means that they're being cautious with him. I think they're looking to move him, and I don't think they want to get him injured. So they're going to take him, and move him with his stock where it's at.
Ethan, thoughts?
Craig, Ryan, I'm going to agree on the thoughts there about Felton. I think he is the odd man out, being a healthy scratch. I don't know who we kept active that we otherwise wouldn't have if we had, made Johnson active for the game. There's going to be other teams. There's going to be injuries. There might be an opportunity to make a trade to enhance one of the position groups of need. I don't know, but yeah, I think Ford showing up the way he did in the preseason certainly made an impression, because even if you have to move on from Hunt after this season, Ford can step into that role even better than Johnson can. As much as I like Dearness Johnson, he's done nothing wrong.
For sure.
And so
he's just the logical choice, though. Kareem Hunt we can't get a return out of him that would warrant letting him go.
No.
And Jerome Ford has potential, and we're not in a contract year. He's not, I think with Johnson, what we're getting at is he could start or play running back 2, or be part of a committee elsewhere easily, right? Yeah. And, we've actually been grooming a lot of running backs that we're seeing having success around the league. Guys whose names you're still hearing today. Now, maybe we didn't green Raheem Mostert, but he used to be a Cleveland Brown. Dontrell Hilliard had 2 touchdowns for the Titans this past week. We kind of used and abused Duke Johnson a little bit, let him go. He's gone, but people have an eye on our running backs at all times, I'm sure. So I think Dearness Johnson just makes a logical sense. Healthy scratch wise, I mean, I was a little surprised when it happened. I wonder if they are trying to trade him. Who else got scratched? We had a wide receiver. Didn't we go into this with 4 wide receivers? Didn't Woods get scratched?
Yes, Woods did not play. I don't know if he was a healthy scratch or not, but he did not. I don't believe he was active for.
I want to say he was on the injury report, but I could be wrong on that.
But we had
Bell,
Cooper.
We had Cooper, Bell, DPJ, and Schwartz. And
Cooper, Bell, DP. Yeah, all right. Yeah. So we had 4. And then essentially Kareem was kind of a jack of all trades.
Yep.
Kareem lined up out wide a lot. He was running routes. I mean, Kareem, I like this role for him. I love it.
That's why I say, and I don't want to interrupt you, but that's why I say I really just don't see them letting him go at the end of the season. He's such a he's such a special talent, but at the same time, you can't get premiums for running backs in the NFL anymore, right? So he's like in that rock and a hard place for the Browns, where it's like he's too talented to just let him walk, but at the same time, he's too talented. You're not going to get enough for him in a trade. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there's been some incredible 1-2 punches in this league in years past, and I still don't think any of them are really as good as Chubb and Hunt. Look at Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams.
Right.
Look at
the Patriots. The Patriots have done it for years.
Yeah, and they weren't as talented. We had Cadillac and who's the ACL guy? Ronnie. Were those both Williamses? We had Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown?
I don't remember.
Yep, in Miami. I mean, that was an insanely talented backfield. Those were both Auburn boys, weren't they?
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Look at Zeke and Pollard. I mean, that's one of the premier 1-2 punches, and I don't think they're anywhere near close to what the Browns have with Chubb and Hunt.
No.
Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, I don't think they're as close as a lot of people think they might be. It's
and then you just groom Ford behind that. You groom
Ford behind that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what advantage does Dearness Johnson have to extend with us? He knows the opportunity's not there if Hunt's on the roster. He also knows there's a guy behind him that's pretty good that we're willing to use because we played Moneyball. He have a good. He doesn't. I don't see a real good reason why he would want to stick around anyways.
No.
So
I won't be shocked if they package him with a pick or something like that to get somebody that they can fill into a position in need. It's just it's too logical. Nothing else makes sense other than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. All right. Anything that you guys want to bring to the table before closing out the show?
2-0 this week, baby. I can't wait.
2-0. That's the goal.
2-0, 1-0. You got to win every week. You got to go 1-0 this week. Let's take care of business. Don't overlook the Jets because, and start thinking about Pittsburgh. We got to get through this game. Take care of business, and I'm all for the fighting type, Heisman looking brownie elf on, the center of the field.
Your person, baby. I can't wait.
I'm stoked. I'm only sorry I'm not there to be at the games, but I'll be trying to stream, and it's very difficult to find illegal streams and to miss the end of the game and have to listen to Jim Donovan through Sirius XM. But we managed. We managed.
All right.
Just got to move back to Ohio, buddy. Just got to come back.
I'd love to. I'll have to work on that. Got to work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ethan, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, welcome to the team, Ethan. Last time you were here, you weren't a member of the team, but you are now, and I'm really glad to have you, buddy.
Great to be here. Thanks a lot, guys. It's really fun.
Absolutely. You can find Ethan's work on dawgstable.com. No more running backs on the Madden cover. I'm out on that also. James says he loves the brownie. I like it too.
I love it.
All right, so that's it. We are the Dawgs Table. We're a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show. We stream every Tuesday at 9 p.m. We are brought to you by BIGPLAY, Labatt Blue Light, and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. We will be back next week, hopefully for another Victory Tuesday.
Let's go.
Until then, go Browns.
Go Browns, baby.